Hey guys, Landon aka DJ New Spirit here, also known as LandRyu513 on the Capcom Fighters Network. Been looking at some recent articles on the Marvel Vs Capcom Infinite, although I'm not a competitive Marvel Vs Capcom guy, but I will say, after doing some logical or conclusive research, this game has gotten a lot of negative feedback, and this video is not to kind of defend Capcom or any way short of form, but it's time to start getting a little more information, start making more sense of this. And I think many people are taking so much of the approach going by other people say so than trying it out for themselves or actually waiting to see the end result. So to put it out there, I'm going through an article through Eventhubs. This is a response towards Eventhubs, that the game essentially, a lot of people are, it's regarding the fact that people are it seems to me that people are using now of it as being a convenience to blame Capcom for everything. I'm talking about everything from point A to B, everything. And when people need to understand that, okay, Street Fighter V may have not been a perfect release. I will say that myself. But the game is engrossing. A lot of people will get frustrated with it, but at the end of the day, you complain, but then you have others that just come back to the game because they want more of it. It's a video game. There's certain things in terms of difficulty and certain things in terms of ingenuity that brings a player back. If it isn't just competition, those that are within the competition and so forth. But in terms of what's going on, I'm pretty sure that Capcom has already gotten a gist of understanding that the game needs more things to go along with it other than the game being bare bones. But as far as Marvel vs Capcom Infinite, I truly feel that people are only going by fan feedback instead of actually trying it out for themselves. Pro players and those alike have actually stated since going past E3 playing an on-floor demo, the graphics have actually significantly improved. Also, in addition to that, you had those that say that the gameplay is actually more in depth than what meets the eye. So that's actually a good thing. But what I have been noticing is that people are going by, respectfully speaking, they're whining and complaining about a lot of things and not actually looking at the issues that are at hand, and that being the licensing. That is going along with the fact that Marvel and Disney, since they did their conglomerate, it has essentially made things worse for other companies or patents to release intellectual properties or IP for characters that are within the studio helm of Fox Studios and so forth. There is a heavy licensing issue, and many people don't seem to understand that. Not only was Capcom bad in terms of public relations with answering questions for fan feedback and everything, which is partially their fault, but at the same time, you point the finger at Marvel and Disney. Essentially, Disney and Marvel are at fault because folks are complaining this and that about Capcom, and I just feel, again, I feel it that they're using it as convenience because Capcom, as far as their brand of Street Fighter, which is a household brand all over the world, all over the nation, wherever you are, it's known as being the legacy of fighting games. We wouldn't have Tekken, we wouldn't have King of Fighters, where you had two developers from producing Street Fighter left Capcom to go with SNK, also known as New Nihon Project, creating games like King of Fighters, Fatal Fury, and so forth. We wouldn't have a lot of the things that are out there, and people are saying that they should take notes from Injustice and Tekken and so forth. But here's the thing, since we're talking about Injustice, let's talk about that. Folks need to know that Warner Brothers has all the rights to their characters, unlike with Fox Studios and Sony. Hence, the licensing is split due to the cinematic movies, as I stated beforehand, and film rights between Disney and between the Disney and Marvel conglomerate. Respectfully speaking, folks seem not to understand how licensing works, and when you have it that difficult for a brand such as Capcom to get together and do something as Marvel, such as releasing a crossover like Marvel, it's just the way that business works. You can't get a character. Let's say we want Wolverine, X-Men. There's a licensing issue with that, and heaven forbid they killed off Wolverine in the actual Marvel universe. You know, if it wasn't just in the cinema brand, they killed him off in the Marvel universe. If anybody read The Death of Wolverine back in 2015, where Wolverine was smoldered to death by adamantium and so forth, the Marvel universe has been very sketchy. That and the DC brand as well. But I don't know why I brought that into it, but it's just something that you guys have to keep in mind. It's crazy. And I think Capcom owe it to themselves to do a better public relations brand in terms of reaching out to the fans. Peter Rose, I don't know what made him say that the X-Men wasn't going to be relevant with that. And instead of just being honest and telling the truth about the entirety of the brand. And I just think that people are just complaining and groaning and moaning just for out of convenience. I honestly think that since Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 came out, and then you had games such as Street Fighter 4, people have been very spoiled and not knowing the entire legacy or history of how these fighting games have worked back in the day, even up until now. They've made it to a point to where it's been convenient for players to have ease of access, and people are talking about, oh, well, they're going to make the game simplistic. True for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, but if you're going to explore further down into the trenches of knowing how the game system and balancing works, it's not going to be that easy. You're going to have to learn to get off the tricycle and get onto the two-wheeler. And that's what a lot of these games are introducing nowadays. You're going to have a simplistic combo system, but if you're going to play competitively and go forward, you got to let go of the training wheels. Again, I know it may sound like I'm rambling, but we just have to keep in mind and get to the point that it's a branding and licensing issue. When you have a cinematic licensing, such as Fox Studios, and whatever that it may be, it's going to be harder for a company like Capcom to do what they have to do. Marvel Disney, you say it in that way, Marvel Disney has really essentially made it hard, along with the cinematic brand, to let Capcom do what it can as far as branding the characters and so forth. That's why we don't see the X-Men and whatever that it may be. And to put it out there cognitively, it's just the way it works. We can't do anything about that. We just can't. And Capcom owes it to themselves to do a better and more conclusive and productive job in reaching out to the fan base. Because you got people talking about they're going to play DBZ fighters instead of playing Marvel vs. Capcom. Then that's you. But one thing I will say at the end of this video, stop going by what other people say. That's to any of you out there. We go by public opinion, and we go by what others say, and that's actually shunning and scaring away others who might have an intrinsic interest into a video game. It's a video game. We're at each other's throats for a video game. We're shunning other communities and so forth because they have interest into a particular type of video game. We don't have the right to say they can't play this game, they can't play that game. Got to do a better job than that. We as a gaming community, we've got to do a better job than that, and we have to stop going by opinions other than seeing what's going on. And we only played the demo, storyboard demo. The game's not even done even being completed yet. I know I rambled, but that's really all I can say at this point. Thank you all for watching, and you all can share this video and opinion and opinions on however you guys want to go about doing it. And you guys just take care. Seriously, this stuff is crazy, especially for a video game. Capcom isn't paying our bills unless you're playing in those tournaments or winning. So I think we owe it to ourselves to stop being at each other's throats and pointing the finger at one company when partially it is their fault, but at the same time it's a branding and licensing issue. And we need to stop shunning other players for having a particular interest in a different type of game or platform altogether. This is Landon, aka DJ New Spirit, out. Peace and blessings, everybody. Bye-bye.